Welcome to the October 11th, 2023 group call. This call is going to definitely be a little bit different than what we usually do because on this call, we're going to be speaking with our local SEO expert, answering as many questions as we can, and essentially giving everybody a rundown of the new training that we're going to be having coming into SASO University. So if you guys are watching from the page and you're not in SASO University, essentially, the entire purpose of SASO University is helping you scale your digital agency, primarily working with local service-based businesses. So I'm going to go ahead and add our local SEO expert, Bill, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking time out of your week to join us. I know we have been having a lot of people reach out and ask about SEO. So no better the person to speak to than somebody who is actually doing this on a regular basis. So what we'll do just to kind of catch everybody up, and then from there we'll kind of jump into like what we're discussing about bringing into SASO University. It's very much still in the planning period, but it is underway. So if you don't mind, Bill, like walk us through a little bit about like why we should trust you when it comes to local SEO. Like we'll just jump right into that, right to the shark infested waters. Like why, how do you know this? Like, what are you doing with SEO? Is this something you're doing in a business? Is this just something, a passion of yours? Kind of catch us up in terms of your knowledge with SEO.
Yeah, you came out guns blazing on that one.
Right
So,
away. That's what the people want.
hey, I'll give the people what they want. I'm all about that. So, I built my first website in 1997, just kind of because I was on the internet and I was a kid and thought I could do better than other people. So, taught myself HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and got people using my first website. And I just kind of just kept building on that foundation. Took programming classes in high school, worked on websites for gaming groups I was in, StarCraft clans, Counter-Strike, if anybody's a big gamer. Um, did my first professional work in high school, actually. I was kind of a volunteer for the tech school I went to that they said, oh, the students are in charge of the uh, production website for the school. So I just kind of put my hand up and led the project, built the whole thing in Flash. It looked great, but it was actually looking back at an SEO nightmare because there was no text or anything that a search engine could actually read. But live and learn, right? But basically, just build on that. Graduated high school, just kept doing little side projects. Um, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a programmer, and um, it's funny how life works out because I was only really a programmer for a few years out of high school. I ended up in a tech support role, but kept building websites, kept kind of keeping up with SEO, but never practicing. And then my friends started opening up businesses finally, like 20 years later. Um, so it's like 2020 at this point, and they're like, can you help me with a website? I'm like, you want to do something, right? We're not just going to build a website for fun and have nobody go to it. So um, that was my first real SEO experience. I just applied everything that I had learned up to that point, and I'm absolutely very much self-taught. There are so many resources out there, so many people that are very well versed in this and just spill their guts online, whether it be YouTube or personal websites or Facebook groups are awesome. I belong to quite a few of those. If you follow any of them, you might see me comment once in a while. Um, so as far as like why you should trust me, I've been doing it for several years. I have generated several $1 million for my small customer base because I continued working full time doing this, and I just never really made the leap into full time business ownership. I'm getting there. Um, got a kid on the way, so I gotta be a little bit careful. But yeah, I've definitely brought several customers into the top of Google search results for local terms, had their phones ringing off the hook. So
Yeah, and I think when I like very first met you, I remember I think it was like beginning of this year. I think is when I first met you. And you had told me you had a maybe it was a plumbing or HVAC. And you basically told them like, listen, I can do this, but you have to do one thing, and that's you have to answer the phone because you're going to get calls. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I think it was like the expression of like melted, essentially like melted their phone with just how many calls. And they were just like, dude, this thing is like reading off the hook.
20 a day. And then we had that we're in Pittsburgh. It was like a big freeze over like the day before Christmas Eve. He actually asked me to turn it off. I'm like, I can mark you temporarily closed, but I can't like make your phone actually stop ringing. People still might call.
Right. Yeah, that's I think that's kind of like what we're looking to bring into this community is somebody with your level of expertise because uh like in SASO University, like a lot of these people that are in the community, they know like the same story I told you. There's a first client I had when I came to you, which was like the lawn care guy. And I was basically like, hey, like I'm doing some local SEO. I'm fumbling through it. We're still making him like a disgusting amount of money. And then I would basically, for anybody like watching, I would basically go to Bill and be like, hey, sorry to bother you. Like, what do you think about this or that? And Bill would be like, all right, read these like really in depth, really like dense Google articles, like basically telling me like there's nothing better than like learning from the source of the algorithm. And then kind of like using other people's content, but he was like just sending me all these like super dense articles I was reading uh, and giving me just a bunch of advice there. So I think obviously like you know what you're doing. I know you know what you're doing. Want to make sure they you know what you're doing because now hopefully they will kind of understand the weight of your words, so to speak. So now that the tough one's out of the way, what we're essentially doing at TIS University, for anybody who's unaware, is Bill has partnered with us to essentially create training programs. I want to say it's a 10-part series. It's roughly a 10-part series with the focus, a really in-depth, heavy focus on local SEO. So I kind of want to jump into the differences because Bill and I were texting or messaging past couple of weeks. And basically he was outlining, when I first met him, he was outlining the differences of SEO to local SEO, which I didn't even understand until I came to Bill. But now Bill's catching me up on even more, which is the Google verified versus local SEO. Like it's getting even more in depth. So we'll take it one piece at a time. So if you don't mind, Bill, like kind of giving us some rundown between SEO and local SEO. And to give you some context, if we have people who are trying to jump in, they're trying to SEO is not the primary focus, but it's nice having like the SEO optimized website, the optimized GMB, just for like a starter client for a one-time setup. So if you don't mind kind of outlining the differences between SEO and local SEO and maybe some of the best practices.
Yeah, so when it comes to SEO, that's more of a broader audience. Um, and you can still rank for SEO with local SEO, but um, local SEO is primarily uh, people in a specific area searching for a service, and uh, you or your customer shows up in that search. So SEO is like somebody types in shoes, and they just get basically a list of shoes. They could be from Amazon, they could be from Target, they could be from a local store, but they're going to get everything. Um, let's say you type in shoes Pittsburgh, you are much more likely to see something um, like a list of businesses that sell shoes that you could actually go to and try them on. And it's all about search intent. Google's really good about figuring out like what people actually want when they search for something. Um, so I don't really get into SEO much. It's primarily local because that's what my customers want. Uh, I'm starting to do a little bit of it for myself, but a lot of it's the same concepts. It's just with local SEO. Uh, I say there's four pillars: directories, also known as citations, basically places to list a business, make sure the name, address, phone number are all exactly the same, and really just kind of mirror that information in as many places as you can, as long as they're legitimate websites. I actually use Yext for that. Um, it's, it's a really cool platform. You actually just fill out the information about a business, uh, kind of do like a questionnaire with the customer, and just blast everything out, and it just it actually locks the profiles so that nobody else can modify them from out from underneath you. That's why I like to stick with Yext. Uh, the second part of that is online reviews. So, excuse me. Online reviews are huge, and it's I don't know if you guys are doing like your own marketing agencies or if you have your own businesses, but I tell my customers, like, if you're not getting reviews, this isn't going to work. So I'll get them like a custom branded URL, like feedback.theirname.com. Um, I'll give them stock language to say, uh, send in a text or an email after they complete a job, like, hey, I really appreciate you coming to me to do this work. It would really help me out a lot if you left me a review online, and you just leave them this link. Um, and they'll either click on it and leave you a review, or they won't. And a lot of people get discouraged because people don't. They'll say they're leaving a review and they don't. But at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. You have to schmooze a little bit and just kind of make people want to help you beyond uh, writing a check. And another part of that is responding in kind, basically saying, thank you for leaving me a review. I appreciate your business. Um, and then people see that when you show them local search results and they say, oh, they have 100 reviews. This other guy has 2. So if you're looking for a local service, you see somebody with 100 reviews versus 2, and they have the same rating, you're probably going to go with the one that has 100 reviews, right? Um, so another thing about that is it's good to get reviews on multiple sites, but really, like, once you start getting 10 plus Google reviews, if you maintain that momentum, um, it will pay off. You just have to keep at it. Like I said, it's a numbers game. Um, and then I said there were 4 pillars. The other 2 pillars are basically kind of the same, uh, along the same vein, and that is content and links. Um, so try not to get into like a 2-hour long discussion here. The gist of it is, you want to target one specific keyword for every web page, whether it be a service landing page or a blog post, whatever it is. Target one keyword. You'll probably rank for multiples if you have good content, anyways. And it's really about structuring your website in a way that makes sense to people and search engines, which I will detail in the course, and providing useful content. You can write nonsense on a bunch of web pages all you want and say, oh, I have this keyword and this keyword and this keyword. But if somebody goes there and they're like, this is absolutely useless to me, and they leave, uh, if you have Google Analytics hooked up, and you should, Google knows that, and it's not going to work out for you. You want people to stay engaged. You want people to go to your website and actually do something there, whether it be read something or call you or uh, go to another web page. But if they go in and it's called a bounce and they just immediately look at it and say, nope, this isn't for me. If that happens too much, you're not going to go anywhere. And I mentioned links. Part of that comes from directories, which I'll show you how to do in Yext. The other part of it is just reaching out to other website owners and getting them to link to you. If it's a local website, that's great. If it's a national website like a blog, as long as it's contextually relevant, meaning uh, the link text from their site matches the page that it's linking to, and it's actually useful to the people that are consuming that content on the other website. Uh, Obviously, the more authority that website has, the better. But a link is a link. If you can get a good link, take the good link, regardless of um, how big and awesome that website is.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is you mentioned really heavy importance on Yext, which I didn't even know what Yext was until I did, or until I met Bill the first time, and he was like, "Yext." I was, "What's Yext?" And he was like, "Oh, it does all this stuff." And what's interesting is within high level, the high level users actually get a massive discount on the Yext subscription. I think it's like 30 a month, and then they actually can add a rebill. So I guess they have some kind of a private deal with Yext. The big issue that I've seen when it comes to people using EX, at least within our community, and this is kind of like a two-pronged question. So it ties, they both tie back to the same root issue. So when we have a client who does not have a physical like brick and mortar location, instead they have like a service area, what would you recommend, or what is something that you do when you're approaching a client who says, "Hey, I don't have a physical location. Maybe they're working out of their house, but this is the service area." Obviously, it's not always like the worst news to hear, but I know there's some limitations. If you don't mind, kind of uh, discussing that, and then also the second part of that would be with Yext. Most of the Yext listings, I believe, require like the physical address. So kind of like a two-pronger, but tying back to the same root topic.
Yeah. So first, you have to define your service area, and Yext actually allows you to do that. You can hide your address from listings. You're not going to get in like Apple Maps, or I think Yelp is another one that will block a business that doesn't have their address listed. Basically, it's a matter of doing what you can. If you don't have a physical address that customers can come to, you are a service area business, period. So play by the rules is basically what I'm saying. Google has guidelines, which I will be going over in the course, um, to kind of clarify as many things as I can. Uh, don't try to cheat is what I'm trying to get at. So Yext says you can hide your address because you don't have an address people can go to. You're a service area business. Then you can list, excuse me, up to 20 counties. Actually, I think states, counties, cities, and zips. So with that, you should be able to define a service area that um, accurately describes where you offer your services.
Right,
Uh,
right.
So when somebody's searching Google specifically, they actually have geographic information. So it kind of geofence it. If uh, say you list your service area business with a specific county, and Google picks up that they're within that county, uh, you are um, eligible to show up in those searches essentially, if what they're searching for matches the service that you specify. Um, Sorry, there was a two-parter there, and I think I got half of it. What do we do as far as like
Yes.
advertising the service area otherwise?
Yeah, so you answered the Yext part, which I think is big, like the area listings, or even potentially putting the address there, then hiding it, as long as you understand it's going to limit which directories it goes on. And then the second part is, so if somebody comes to you and they say, "Hey, I'm at the service area business, no physical location," ignoring the Yext or directory listing portion, focusing more on the Google business uh, side of things, the Google business profile, maybe the website. What do you typically do when you're approaching someone that has service areas on that side versus versus physical location?
So
So
Yext actually ties into Google business profiles. So what's cool about Yext is you set it in Yext, and then it propagates everywhere else that Yext connects with. And generally, I can get my customers in like 30 to 50 directories or so just by filling out the basic information in Yext. Um,
and
so it
really
is.
quickly, like not to interrupt you, but when you're saying the 30 to 50, is that going to help at all when you mentioned like links, whether they're
Yes.
follow or no follow? And if so, can you explain how?
Yes, because not only in Yext are you able to provide a link to your website that propagates to those directories, but you can also include links from images. So if you have a relevant image for a service, you can actually, in that image description, add a link to your service pages. Um, and another thing that I like to do uh, when it comes to service area businesses is list the service area on a dedicated page just to make it clear 100% without any doubt. We service these cities and these counties, basically have a hierarchy of uh, location data, and you basically describe the services on that page. But I'll also turn that into a template, and I started experimenting with copying that to the service pages, even the home page, and that is seems to be yielding some pretty decent results. So uh, service area information, like specific counties and cities, seems to be a really big deal from kind of the tests that I run.
That's very good to know. And I think the reason I wanted to mention that, and this is like a really, I'm going to allow you just an easy question. So you mentioned putting the links in the description of the images when using Yext. These are going to create some form of a backlink for anybody who is like, why would I do that? Really quickly, easy question. What is the benefit of more backlinks?
More backlinks means you are more popular as far as Google is concerned. It's authority.
Yeah.
Google says links are not like the be all end all, but ultimately, the more links you have to a page, Google sees that as being more popular, and they will swear up and down that links don't matter at the end of the day. But the fact is, they still do. And nobody in the industry sees Google being able to do anything to make it 100% about the content. So I
And
kind of like to do that 1-2 punch of content and links, because if you
yeah.
have great content and you have links, not spammy links, but quality links from other websites, um, directories are only part of that. You should have links from like publications, um, basically anywhere you can get them from. That, like I said, as long as it's contextually relevant and it's useful to somebody, get the link.
And so Michael asked in the chat, he said a lot of people charge for backlinks. What are your thoughts on people who are charging for backlinks? Is that something they should do or shouldn't do? Is there a way? So we'll do it in two parts. So I'll ask you this question, and then I'll follow up with, I'll give you a heads up. I'll give you a little, I'll give you a buffer time. But basically, first part is going to be people who are charging for backlinks. How do you feel about that? Is that a good thing or bad thing? The next question after you answer that would be about HERO, the help report. So first question, the backlinks people charging. What do you think about that?
So as far as Google's concerned, you should not do that. Um, whenever, and really, I'm not a big fan of people charging for links either. I don't do it myself because it basically devalues the links from that site, because there's no real quality control. If you can buy a link on a site, doesn't that mean other people can just go buy links from a site?
Exactly. And this is something that we talk about here in Cis University. We talk about this with email scraping. And it's funny because Bill and I, Bill can tell you, we did not rehearse this call. I told him it's going to be an authentic conversation just in front of you guys. I tell you guys all the time, we don't pay for email lists because if you bought it, who else bought it? And so to affirm what I've told you in the past, we have another professional who's telling you, do not pay. If somebody is selling it, you are not the only buyer. Just keep that in mind. It will water down the results. I'm very happy that you said that.
And Haro is just another method of requesting a link. So one way is to just go find the contact information for somebody who's in charge of a website or a post and reach out to them. Say, hey, I have this great piece of content. I think it's very relevant, and it would be great if you could link to it from this web page that you're responsible for. Um, could you help me out? Just ask them. And the more value you have to offer to their audience, the more likely they are to just say, "Oh yeah, I'll do that for you," and they're not going to charge you for it. Um, you are going to see people say, probably more often than not, "Oh, I need $250. I need $400." But like I said, you're probably better off just making better content and moving on to somebody who's happier to link to it. Um, social media is another way you can just take something that you want to get links to and post it, because the more shares you get, the more likely somebody's going to pick up on it and say, "Hey, this is a great resource. Not only am I going to share it, I'm going to put it on my website, or I'm going to put it on Reddit." Um, speaking of Reddit, um, some subreddits actually let you include links in your posts. So if it's not against their terms, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Um, industry forums, basically, like I said, anywhere that will let you post a link, if it's not like a straight up spam website, go for it.
Awesome. And then shifting just a little bit. So you mentioned having one keyword per page. So Christian asked, is the goal to use that same keyword as much as possible when relevant within that page? So if you don't mind giving us a context to maybe the best practices, maybe things to avoid, like keyword stuffing or search intent. Well, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely don't overdo it. Try to be as natural as possible. So we haven't talked too much about website structure, web page structure, but there are headings. So H1 is like the uh, kind of the first thing somebody's going to see on a web page. Should be just describing what that page is about. Typically, you're going to have your target keyword, primary keyword in that H1. From there, I like to put it at least one H2. And then, other than that, like I said, if it makes sense, put it there. If it looks like you're just shoving the keyword in there just to say, I have the keyword there, don't do it. And as far as like percentages and how often, like I said, keep it natural. Yeah, I'll talk about H1s and H2s more in a second here. So, um, excuse me. Uh,
So I think
lost
like
my train of
for
thought when I saw that question.
no, you're good. I think for like H1s and H2s, like correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially you want to like they're almost like chapters in a book. It's kind of like telling you like, hey, this is what's kind of coming next. So like an H1, if we're doing Christian, what's your industry if you don't mind letting us know? And like we could maybe give you some examples of H1 and H2s. Just typing.
While he's answering that, so I actually use tools to kind of guide the writing process. SEMrush actually has like a this is where I do my keyword research, but they also have a writing assistant, and there are other tools out there like Surfer SEO that will basically tell you like, hey, if you want to rank for this keyword, you should probably use uh, your primary keyword this many times and like a dozen or so other keywords X number of times, and it's they're guides. It's not like a foolproof way to rank. The best way to rank is to do these things, but also provide the best user experience. As far as like what an H1 versus an H2 is, um, when you're creating a web page, they're called heading tags. So um, the H1 is like the main idea, what this page is about. Um, so, for example, let's say I have a roof repair company. I'm going to say the H1 is uh, we're a local roof repair company in Pittsburgh, PA, because you get roof repair company and the local keyword in there. It is kind of a strong signal that it is very relevant to somebody who's looking for a roof repair company in Pittsburgh. Um, as far as an H2 goes, that's you're going to have multiple H2s generally, and an H2 is just a subheading of the H1. Probably be a lot easier if I actually look at one of my sites and just kind of
Yeah, so like Christian mentioned like tax strategists. So without using any of like the SEO tools, my assumption would be like an H1 would be something along the line of like, uh, you know, pricing for tax strategists. And then with under that, it might be more specific. So it might be like, what are different subcategories under pricing? Like
yes,
what are the categories we look at? Maybe it's, and I'm not too familiar with tax strategists, but it might be like, let's look at what bracket you're in. Let's look at what assets you have. Let's look like things we consider would be like,
services.
yeah, right. Smaller subcategories within the H1.
So
So Bill's gonna read something from the website where he actually used a tool instead of me just like making stuff up.
yeah, so if I have roof repair company, I'm going to have a list of H2 is basically going to be uh, roofing services. So uh, roof replacement and repair, 24/7 emergency roof repair. If they have other services, list them out. Um, why choose our roof repair company? Uh, what customers say about our roof repair company. Then you can have your service areas and just say our service areas. You don't need to put roof repair company in every H2, like I was saying. But schedule your roof repair estimate, or just to give you an example. Uh, that's a homepage, just to give you an example. Uh, like another thing I like to do is have like a primary services page, and you're just going to pick another keyword. So reliable roofing services in Pittsburgh, PA. And then you're going to have roof repair, roof inspection, roof installation. Those are all going to be H2s. And then you're going to have sub pages. So you're going to have a page for roof repair, a page for roof inspection, a page for roof installation. Then you're going to have a learn more link. And in your menu, you're going to have roofing services, and you're going to list all three of those pages. But if they click on roofing services, it takes you to the roofing services page. Then you have those headings for each of the services. So you're just kind of building out a structure. And like I said, it's a hierarchy. So the home page is at the top. You're going to have a services page, about us, contact. Those are all sub pages. They're going to be in your main menu. And then every time you go to a website, or a larger one at least, you're going to have like those subheadings in the menu. Try to mirror that same structure in your pages. Something we didn't really talk about yet is internal linking. And that's the whole point of having those sub pages, so that you can build internal links to them. They're specific services. So somebody searches for one of those three services for that customer for me, they are much more likely to get a lead from organic search showing up in the map pack. You know, yeah, that list of three businesses with a map next to it in the service area. Um, it's all about just building a quality experience at the end of the day.
And we'll take some more questions closer to the end. And what we'll do, so like right now we have Christian, Mo, Michael. What we'll do a little in about 5 or 10 minutes or so is I'll see if you guys want to hop into the live call and ask Bill any questions directly, so that way you can kind of spout them off. So I don't want to go longer than an hour at the very most with the entire call. So want to really quickly redirect to kind of cover the benefits of bringing Bill on, some of the things we're going to cover in the training, and then from there we'll open up for any questions. But if you guys are in SASO University and you're onboarding a new client, so we cover this all the time. We're doing what's known as the triangle ascension offer model. You're looking at, where is my client, whether they're at the bottom, whether they're closer to the top. You have to figure out what the difference is. What is the gap between where they are and where they need to be to achieve the goals they want to achieve, right? Super simple. So when you're signing on a brand new client, and let's just say they have nothing set in place, the beauty of understanding what Bill is going to be teaching you guys in SASO University through the courses is going to be understanding how to build a structured website, how to use certain software. So he's actually going to be reviewing his favorite software in the training, and he's going to have links in the training for you to use. So they're going to be affiliate links. So if he has any kind of a discount or promotions going on with those links, you will be able to use that link and benefit from it as well. He also has links to software that you cannot get unless you get it from someone's affiliate. Like they're super close knit software. So he's going to be sharing how to use certain software to essentially create this entire proper hierarchy and structure when it comes to building out your website, your directory listings, the best practices for review generation. And then what's really important for you guys is when you are launching with a new client, we talk about doing like a heavy setup. For those of you that remember, most of my offer, like 99% of my offer, is essentially creating a really big done for you client acquisition model where I charge people between 4,000 and 10,000. And then afterwards, guess what they pay? They pay 97 or 297 or this really low rate just for the software at a bare minimum. And then there's the upsell of recurring services like SEO, which Bill's gonna be showing us. We have a few people in SIS University who are doing content creation where they're basically recording a podcast and they're splitting clips up afterwards. They're making between 2,000 to 5,000 per month per client. We have my automation guy will be coming in soon. His English is getting much, much better. He is nasty with automation. So he's going to be showing you guys how to build automation so we can actually start replacing a lot of the people they have on the ground or even preventing them from ever having to hire somebody. We have somebody who's going to be coming in and teaching you guys how to bring in and train virtual assistants. So SIS University is only going to be getting better and better. Bill is just the first professional we're bringing in because he and I go back a little bit and I've seen firsthand just how impressive his work is. So the training that we're going to cover or that we're going to be jumping into, I know we could, I want to leave some time for questions, like 15 minutes of questions. I'll leave a window for the questions at the end, but some of the things we're going to be covering in the training. And so I want to preface what I'm about to explain with this is the benefit of having somebody like Bill in our community. I talk about this all the time is you want to get your information when it comes to how you run your business as close to the mouthpiece as possible. Because what happens is a lot of these people, what they do, a lot of the coaches who coach coaches, this is what they do. They basically go get coached and then they turn around and they coach you based on how they were coached. That's what a lot of these guys do. They recycle content. So the coach learns from the coach who coaches the coach, and then he coaches the coach who coaches the coach who coaches you. That's usually how these things happen. That's why a lot of these people always have very similar offers. That's why you see a wave of offers all at the same time. Everybody was doing SMMA. Everybody was starting on SaaS. Everybody was jumping on high ticket remote closing. Everybody was jumping on a bill. You probably saw this in the SEO space. Everybody was jumping on SEO sprints a few months ago, going crazy with it. So the nice thing with having someone like Bill in is he's going to be showing us when it comes to SEO, he is going to be the mouthpiece because he is not learning this from other people only. He's learning this because he's working with clients. Yes, he's still getting feedback from communities. And if anybody who's been to SEO University, you guys know I tell you, join every local SEO group you can put your hands on. We had somebody named Ismail, no SEO training. I'm not sure. He's not on the live chat. He might be watching. He'll probably watch the rerun actually because the time zone difference. His name's Ismail. He's in SIS University. Most of you know him. YouTube and local SEO groups. And he already has somebody ranking 4th on Google Business. And that was last month after 2 months. So he is absolutely crushing and he's going through exactly what we're telling you to go through. So having someone like Bill is going to be that added level. He's actually, just like me, he's actually doing what he's teaching you to do. And he's going to turn around and he's going to help you learn much faster than he learned. And like I'm showing you how to learn much faster than I learned. So now you have not one big me, but 2 professionals. And soon we're going to have 3 to 5 total professionals. My next goal, like I said, is an automations expert, which is going to be, if anybody knows my virtual assistant in Pakistan, his name is Sully. It's not his real name. That's like short name. Sully. He actually built the chat GPT bots that you guys see commercials for. So if you see those ads for like, I think it's called like Centera or something, or Centra or something like that, he actually built those chat GPT bots. He is the guy behind it. So he quit his programming job overseas, and he is going to actually be joining SASO University. So he's actually full time on payroll now. He's going to be creating content for us as well. So it is going to be crazy. What I will say is, as we release all these trainings, the pricing is going to go up. All of you know, if you've been here for more than a day, all of you know the pricing is going to go up to 97 at the end of the year, and that's where it's going to sit. It's going to sit at 97 a month. So if you lock in right now, for anybody watching or anybody who's here, whatever price you join at, you're locked in at. So if you joined at 25, you're locked in at 25. If you joined at 49, you're locked in at 49. If you wait till after and you want to see if it's a real deal, even though we have people who are already making thousands a month in less than a couple of months, and you want to wait, that's fine. It'll be 97. It'll always be free to affiliates. However, next year, it's no longer going to be free to new affiliates under the cheapest plan. It's going to have to be the 297 or the 497 plan. If you're already in, don't worry, you're already in. You're not going to get kicked out. Everyone gets grandfathered in or grandmother. Are we going to look at it? Grandfather, grandmother in. So in the training, Bill is going to be, and let me know too, like Bill, like don't let me talk out of the side of my mouth, but Bill's going to be covering the local SEO is going to be the main. If we talk about H1s or titles, right? Local SEO is your H1 or your title, right? And then the subcategories are going to be we're going to focus on review generation, which is nice because I'm actually going to come alongside some of his trainings and show you how we can use the automations in high level to further automate. So we got review automations, website structuring, directory listings, which is primarily using Yext. Bill's going to be sharing with you the very same software he uses. He's going to actually do a step-by-step walkthrough on how he uses those tools, right? He's going to cover the difference between local SEO and, like we talked about, having someone close to the mouthpiece. He's going to talk about the difference between local SEO and what's known as a Google verified or local Google verified. So I've been telling you guys about this for months. And I talked to Bill, like, I think it was like a week or two ago. And he goes, hey, heads up. This is the new thing because of how Google is structuring their search results. This is the new thing that's taking place. And we already have the professional in our community who's building trainings on this. So we
Yeah.
already have this kind of content. And then what are some of the other topics that I'm not sure if that's all of it or if I maybe generalized too much, but
So I didn't take note of everything. There's going to be some keyword research. That's really where I start. If there's not any keyword volume in a local area, it's not even worth pursuing. I actually turn away a lot of customers because if there's just no volume for your service, there's nothing to go after. Analytics, uh, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, both great tools for seeing both how you're performing and uh, kind of get some ideas for if there's any room for optimizations. But uh, Google Search Google Search Console will actually tell you if you're like really messing up, like if you're getting penalized. I've been fortunate enough to not have that happen to me, but if you do some spammy stuff, you'll probably know about it. Uh, yeah, as far as Google local services ads, Google Guarantee, uh, basically a lot of professions, whether it be home services, legal, medical, uh, those are like all those organic results that uh, I've been focusing on over the last few years are getting pushed down on the list. And it doesn't mean don't do local SEO. It means that's just something that we have to deal with. And it actually builds on things like your Google business profile. So it displays your reviews. It's based on your service area.
let me ask you real quick. Like, I'm not going to name names, but just to help, because this was a conversation I had earlier with somebody. Just how crucial is it to have a Google business profile versus not having?
If you're doing business locally, it doesn't make sense to not have a Google business profile. Like if you have a Facebook and you're doing business locally, uh, you're not going to get the same result as you would just having a Google business profile. I've had people that have set up Google business profiles for free, just kind of to help get my name out there. And like a pet sitter told them like, hey, keep asking your customers for reviews. This is how, I don't want to say it's easy, but They have a Wix website. They build it themselves. No knowledge or anything like that. And
No,
just
no
based
SEO structuring.
just just what I did with their Google business profile, getting them set up with that and setting everything up correctly, they're booked out like 6 months in advance.
That's crazy. Yeah. So local SEO is going to be like the biggest thing possible. So I see we have some questions coming in. We're going to go 15 minutes and then we'll wrap up there. Bill is going to be, just to say this, and then I'll bring you guys in one at a time. Bill's going to be joining the community soon. He's not going to be able to answer every single question because, like I said, he's, still running his own business, but he'll be joining us every so often on live calls. So it's usually about once every 3 to 4 months. It's not going to be too frequently. However, once that training is out, what you're going to see is Bill is not only going to be showing you the software he's using, he's going to have basically 3 offers in the description of the videos. So he's going to have his affiliate links, he's going to have coaching calls, and he's going to have done for you services. So we're still working out those details. But essentially, if you're like, hey, I don't want to do this solely myself, I'm really stuck, you can essentially meet with Bill, and that's going to be between you and Bill how that relationship goes or doesn't go, right? That's still the beauty of having your own business. He gets to pick if he wants to work with you or not. We're not just going to hold him hostage. But essentially, if you're saying, hey, I've got clients, I can cover whatever rate we discuss, that's going to be a conversation for you guys. So he's going to come in as a heavy ask. So what we're going to do, I know Michael had a question right there. So Michael, are you cool if I bring you in on the live and you can ask me questions? And then Christian and Mo, if you guys want to hop in, just let me know in the chat and you can ask any questions. But we'll go till 8 Eastern, maybe like 2 minutes over at the very most, and then we'll wrap up. Let's see. Okay, cool. So Michael just asked a question. So Michael asks, Bill, are you well versed in Google business profile suspensions? Like, for example, would you be able to tell why a profile gets suspended? And to give you some context, because this is a situation that I've been tracking for a little bit. Michael, correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I think they had one email that was added as an admin on multiple Google business profiles, but they weren't the sole creator. And then they essentially created the Google business profile. It was rejected, but there was no information or context in the rejection. Basically, it was just like, hey, it's been suspended. And Michael, let me know if I'm wrong. So yeah, Michael was the admin, but I don't think you created the profile, right, Michael? Okay, so he did. Okay, so he did create it. He was the admin. It got rejected. And every profile with his email, that's what it was. Every profile with his email got rejected. Do you have any ideas on that? Or is that something where you'd have to look a little closer at the profile?
So typically, yes, you're going to have to look at the profile. And in my experience with suspensions, I haven't gotten suspended because of something that I did wrong. The last suspension that I had to deal with, it's really funny. I created a Google account just for my customers' general web presence, just kind of something that I can pass off to them if they stop doing business with me. I created the profile, and then I went and added my agency admin account where I manage all of my customers' business profiles, connected it to Yext. And we're not blaming Yext here, but basically that all happened in the same day. Wake up in the morning, profile suspended. They basically said, you violated our terms. I didn't violate any terms. It happens. Google is so automation heavy that they don't get it right 100% of the time because of that. So you kind of have to figure it out. They will actually tell you, like, go read our guidelines. That's how they deal with suspensions. And then they say, after you read our guidelines, you can appeal. In that particular case, I didn't want to wait 2 or 3 weeks because that's how long it can actually take them to even respond with any kind of reasoning for why you were suspended after an appeal. I actually deleted the profile and recreated it under my agency account. Boom, good to go. Still active, no problem. Did exactly the same thing that I did the first time without the original account, just created it under my agency account. So going
Maybe it was
forward,
like, you think maybe it could have been like too new on email or? and that got flagged for not having like,
So there is a verification process. Um, I haven't seen it recently when I'm creating one under my agency account, but if you create like a new Gmail and you're just creating your first Google business profile, they will send a postcard to the address that you put in your profile. Um, and no, you don't make a new profile. First, the example I gave you was a brand new profile. So it just got suspended right out of the gate. If it's an existing profile, absolutely do not delete it. There's a contact form. Let me see if I can get the link real quick.
and then while we wait on that, because again, this is why Bill is here, because I don't know the steps in this. Like I said, I fumbled through SEO. I did basically exactly what Ismail did. I had very good results, but again, I haven't seen nearly enough as what Bill has seen. And obviously, well, what sucked with Michael's situation was he like jumped in, and this was like the first client he tried this with. Or this was like one of his first couple of clients, and it was like immediate suspension. He's like just been dealing with this for months.
So I posted that link in chat. That is the Google Business Profile contact form. Uh, Pick which business you need help with, type in suspension under what you need help with, hit enter, um, hit suspended business, go to the next step. They're going to give you all the uh, basics. And then you go to the next step and you can email them where you basically plead your case. Make sure you've read the guidelines, make sure that there's absolutely nothing obvious that you have done wrong. If you have a uh, service area business and you list it as a brick and mortar that people can visit and they can't actually visit, there's no signage, you have a chance of getting suspended. So Michael, if you don't understand what you did to get suspended, the point here is you have to look at Google Business Profile's guidelines. The Google Business Profile guidelines are very clear. If you read through them and you still do not have any idea whatsoever why you've been suspended, like there's no inkling of a clue, follow that link, go through the contact. There's a contact form in step 3. Plead your case. Just tell them like, hey, I'm a business owner, or I'm helping my customer here. I think I've done everything by the book. Tell them the things you checked. Send the email. It might take 2 or 3 weeks to even get a response. If you've been pleading your case and they're not telling you why you've been suspended, request an escalation. That is like, that's always like the last resort. You have an email chain going back and forth with them. If they're just saying, oh, go read our guidelines, tell them, I've read the guidelines. There is no clear reason for this suspension. Please escalate this issue. And typically, it might take a couple of tries, but you will get somebody who will actually tell you like what's wrong. And it's the same for reviews. Like people leave fake reviews, or
I was just about to ask you. I was just about to ask you, like, how do people deal with fake reviews? And
it's
then,
tough.
yeah.
So
So what I've heard really quickly, because I think this is where other people kind of fall in, is you get a fake review, report it as spam. If you reply to it, I think you're supposed to say like, "Hey, I have no idea who you are. We've never done business." Like, I think you have the wrong profile, you have the wrong account. What do you
absolutely
say?
respond appropriately. Like if it is somebody like their name doesn't match the customer database, say, hey, we keep a record of all of our customers, and I'm sorry you had a bad experience with some company, but we do not have record of doing business with you. You can contact us at such and such number. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to help. But we just clearly state they are not a known customer of yours.
Yeah.
As far as how you flag the review, I'd say be careful about how you flag it. Spam is like, uh, it's just junk. Somebody's just leaving a review for the sake of leaving a review and they have no affiliation with the business. There's another one for like conflict of interest where it's like a current or former employee who's disgruntled, which actually happens more frequently than I care for, but uh, that happens. You basically need to get like documentation proving that they work or did work for that business. Then you can get, or they work for a competitor, get a link to their LinkedIn or something that provides some kind of evidence for your case. And you're
Yeah.
you're going to have to provide that to get rid of the review.
Awesome. So I'm going to add Mo. If you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and add you for your question. And then we'll see if there's any final questions, but we should be ending right on time. Hey, Mo, how's it going?
Good, man. What's up, Bill? How are you? Thanks for this joining the call, man. This is awesome information. I'm super stoked um about kind of leveraging some of your help. Actually, the transition to reviews was great because my question was, um does the quality of the reviews matter? And like, I've got a business, a client that I'm kind of helping out, and he's getting a lot of reviews. One of our huge initiatives is focused on getting reviews. So he's sending out some automated text messages, some database reactivation for reviews. And a lot of people, some people, like you said, numbers game, some people are responding, some people are not. The ones that are responding are just hitting like 5 stars or 4 stars with no context or anything like that. And our next steps kind of to respond to those and get a little bit more information if we can. But I'm just curious if like the quality of the reviews matters in the grand scheme of like ranking.
Yeah, so I'm glad I've been able to help so far. Like Alec said, this is all off the cuff. I didn't have any
Yeah, I
kind
love
of
it.
idea what questions he was going to ask, so just kind of doing my best with whatever comes up. To answer your question, uh, yes, but like you said, it's a numbers game. Uh, there are different uh, types of accounts that have more weight. Some of them are local guides. Um, my girlfriend is actually a local guide just by coincidence. She was like a level 8 when I met her a few years ago. So I actually like to get my customers to do work for us or for her. And then she gets to leave a natural review that's not coming from me. And it pops up. She's a local guide, and her review like stays like sticky on the top of their reviews for like a long, long
Yeah,
time.
I think I'm like level 10. So pretty much every review that I leave on Google, like if I ever go back to that business, it's always like the first one. You
Uh,
know?
that might be because it's you if you're logged in with your account. I'm not the algorithm master. I'm just saying it's
Sure,
possible. They're
sure,
like,
sure.
oh yeah, you
Yeah.
left a review here, just so you know. Um,
That's
Don't,
dope.
don't tear them apart twice kind of thing.
that
Yeah.
said, don't don't try to game the system. One
Yeah.
of Google's policies is you cannot buy reviews, or
Yeah.
actually, you're not allowed to provide any kind of incentive whatsoever. You just have
Mhm.
to do it naturally.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the quality of a review, keywords matter. Like if they say
Okay, got it.
what service that you provided, or they say good things about the service along with 5-star rating, that obviously goes a lot farther than them just clicking 5 stars and
Yeah.
calling it a day. Uh, one thing you can do is ask customers to leave feedback with their review in your solicitations. Uh, I actually don't have that problem very often. I'd be really curious to see like what the messaging is because,
Yeah.
like I said, I just tell my customers like, "Hey, please mention me specifically when you leave a review online. It really helps us out," and that they're killing it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Probably kind of adjusting the messaging a little bit so to include, hey, please include Craig in your review that provided the service. And I think that would entice them a little bit more to write, a sentence or 2 sentences, even that, rather than just clicking 5 stars and send. That's a good call out there. No, thank you. I'm looking forward to the course.
I don't think it hurts. But like if you get a 5-star review and there's no context, it's better than not getting a review.
Sure. Sure.
And Bill, real quick, so for the question, I've seen like when they're asking for those reviews, I've seen two scenarios where one, they'll say, "Hey, can you provide feedback? It really helps us." I'm not sure if this is allowed with Google's practice, but I remember a few years ago, I had somebody hit me with an automation, and it was like, "Hey, if you don't mind leaving us feedback, here's some examples of like what other people have said, or here's some examples or suggestions." And it would be like 3 quotes, and like they're trying kind of insinuating like copy and paste because they were, keyword stuffed. But what are your thoughts on messaging? Should it just be like, "Hey, leave us feedback"? Because some people have asked me, should we put suggestions of what to say?
Um, I'm not looking at the guidelines yet, but I'm about to. I would say that is in the gray area of
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't do that. It should be as natural as possible.
I think Alex, from a like a consumer perspective too, if I went to a business and clicked on the reviews and all the reviews were kind of the same text over and over and over again,
Yes.
that may not
That may raise some flags.
right, exactly. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
where did this review come from? Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and appreciate your question.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and pull Christian up. I'll have a good night, man.
Cheers, guys.
And
Thanks, Bill.
we'll pull up Christian with his last question, and then we'll grab
Real quick.
Grant's, and then we'll go super quick, and then we'll wrap up.
No, real quick about reviews. Yext
Oh, yeah.
is really cool about reviews. It actually aggregates all the feedback into like this. It's kind of like a chart to show like what gets mentioned the most. So typically it'll be like the customer service, and it will say like great, professional, just the various ways the service is described, be it positive or negative. I'm actually starting to roll that into other marketing messages just to say, this is, like a word cloud.
Yeah.
Just kind of rolling that into their other marketing messages just to kind of tap into what people are already liking about the service.
Yeah, that's gotta be, like I said, I'm excited for this trend. It's going to be
Me too.
super valuable. Hey, Christian, man, how you doing?
Muted.
Oh, yeah, you're muted. There you go.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good, man. What's your question?
Awesome. First off, Bill, I appreciate you doing all this. I can't wait for the training. I mean, this is already a lot of value, so I appreciate it. So I got 2 questions. I'm gonna try and keep it brief. So the first is, what are your thoughts on AI, SEO, statistical forecasting tools? I've read a couple articles about this one tool. It's called marketbrew.ai. I don't know much about it. I've kind of just seen it pop up here and there. Not sure if you've heard of it, but I'd love to get your feedback on like general, I guess, market of these AI tools regarding SEO.
There's a ton of AI tools out there. I started with Jasper, even before Google said it was okay. I think what it comes down to is do copy checks, plagiarism checks. I'm sorry. So like run your stuff through Copyscape, make sure there's no plagiarism detected. And as far as the tool that I'm using now, Alec mentioned it was kind of private, but invite only content at scale. They're doing some really cool stuff with keyword research, which SEMrush is good for, but I like SEMrush better because it's actually starting to give you like SEMrush always gave keyword difficulty, like how much effort it would take to rank for a keyword, but they started doing it for local SEO too. So you can say, oh, my customer's doing business in this county, and now they're giving the keyword difficulty at the location level instead of nationally.
And real quick, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but when I remember using like some of the earlier AI SEO content generation, what it would do, because where I was trying to do the SEO was in such a small location. So if I typed in location name plus service, because the location was so small, I would see the content being generated, and I could tell because I researched my competitors, it would literally just scrape my competitors' websites, and then it would put it through like a rewrite tool. So it wasn't even AI generated. It was just like, and I would know because it would have the business names in there. And I was like, wait a minute, that's like one of my competitors.
Yeah,
I was just putting it through like a content rewrite versus even an AI generation. That was like once. That was like a year ago or 2 years ago.
That's why we do plagiarism checks. But yeah, definitely don't rip people off. Your content should be both unique and valuable. AI tools will occasionally, at least the better ones, occasionally copy from other sites. Content at scale is really cool because I actually use 3 different AI engines. So it's very hard to say like, oh, they used OpenAI, because it's a mix of those different engines. And I would say 100% of the time, AI generated content should be human edited. So an actual human being who understands what is being talked about should be modifying that content in some capacity. Not just for the fact that there are going to be errors, but Google has guidelines that basically say it's called EEAT, expertise, authority, trustworthiness, I believe is the last one. Sorry, experience, expertise. And you basically have to demonstrate that you actually know what you're talking about when you're publishing content. And that's why I'm starting to like do Zoom interviews with my customers so that we can just talk about their services for like an hour or two, and then I'll get a transcript. I can just go search through that for those nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then
to
Christian,
pass
you
along.
mentioned you had a second question.
Yeah, this one's kind of might sound a little bit dumb. It's like kind of broad, but I know you touched on the fact that it sounded like you have a Google account that you manage all your clients under, and then you have a separate Google account that is for your business, I believe. And from what I understood, you encountered an issue where you got banned for something, although I couldn't really catch why you got banned exactly. And I apologize if that's not clear. But I'd love to just jot down, I guess, the quick gist about that.
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit more clearly. I'm sorry about that. So what I do typically for my customers is I'll create a Google account for their things that they are going to own. So Google Analytics, Google Search Console, uh, any kind of directories that I sign up for them directly. So if they're a heating and cooling company, I'll find HVAC directories, and if they're decent, and get them listed. But back to your question, sorry, lots of information running through my brain all at once. So what I did was I created their Google business profile under that new Gmail account, which is fine. It should have triggered a verification. Like I said, you'll typically get a postcard if you're creating a profile for the first time. I immediately added my agency account, so me at mybusiness.com, which is what I use to manage all of my customers, because I'm always logged in under that account. That's where I do my work, so it makes sense for me to have all of that access. I connected Yext, the Yext property for that new business, because Yext basically has an entity for every location. Connected that to my agency account, and that new profile, I guess they thought I was like trying to skip verification for them or something. I don't know. I wasn't going to wait 3 weeks for them to come back to me and say it looked suspicious. So I just deleted it and recreated it under the agency account. Perfectly fine. You should never have a duplicate listing, by the way. If you have a customer who has like 2 or 3 Google business profiles, you are probably looking at like some kind of cleanup job that probably isn't even worth it, because I've seen this before. They'll agency hop. Like they'll go to one agency, have them do a little bit of work, get frustrated because they're not getting immediate results, which almost never going to get immediate results in this type of marketing. It's kind of like dark magic, but anyways, it really is like, it's, I don't want to say witchcraft to defend somebody, but it's
There's very little like rhyme or reason to when these things kick into place. Because I know when I came to Bill with the long hair guy, it was like within 2 months. Like you guys, pretty sure you guys have heard that story until you get like sick of it, like your dad telling you or something. But like it was like the 8th week. It was a Thursday, and my client messaged me. He's like, "My phone is bringing off the hook. I just landed 28K in landscape deals off of 8 phone calls. And it was a Thursday to Friday." And then I'm pretty sure I messaged Bill, and I was like, "I don't know what I did." And he was like, "Just keep doing it." That's what we do. And I was like, "Okay." And like, it absolutely crushed. And like, it went really well. So the focus as we wrap up, Christian, definitely appreciate you coming on and asking your questions. But as we go ahead and wrap up, the focus of having Bill come into the community is to build this 10-step training that should be comprehensive enough to where you can ask or any question you would have asked, he's essentially going to answer it. And then if you have follow-ups, I will reach out to Bill, and he will either explain it in the chat of SASO University, or he'll tell me and I'll relay the messages. Or every 3 to 4 months, he'll hop on a call and answer those. But the training, if I know anything about Bill, I know that training is going to be very comprehensive and almost, it's going to be almost a hand-holding walkthrough. Where the impact is essentially the application, right? That is going to be where the impact is. So just like in SASO University, I show you guys, hey, here's how to build the offer creation. That is very different than me saying, I'm building your offer for you. So Bill is going to show you guys, here's the structure, here are the best practices, here's how to use the software, here's understanding the weight of this versus that, the difference between this and this. So understand that what he's going to be building, just like what I'm building, is going to teach you how to do it, but it is not going to do it for you. You still have to do the work for you. That's the whole appeal of SASO University. It's the DIY program, learning at your own pace. And because all the training is posted, you can refer back to it as much as you want. So there's still going to be questions you guys have. The cool thing about having someone like Bill is that he's so intelligent. The downside to have somebody like Bill and like myself and like all these experts is that there's going to be something that maybe we assume you already know because it's so elementary to us, right? So that's where you guys have to give us feedback and say, hey, he said H1 heading. I have no idea what that is. So that might tell Bill, okay, I might need to have like an intro to SEO as my first like video, right?
intro
Or
to
I might need to
homepage.
like, yeah, I might need to link some like SEO for toddlers kind of beginning. And I want everyone to understand, I tell you guys this all the time. Nobody comes out of the womb knowing this. Bill just told you guys his story of how he learned and how he got proficient over a 20-year career and passion of learning, right? So I don't want you guys coming out and saying, oh, I'm a failure, I quit. You have to give yourself the time, the patience, the grace. Just like when a baby starts crawling and walking and falling, right? You don't go, haha, what a loser baby, right? You're like, that's what babies do. Like, all right, get up and try again, right? So it's the same. You guys are going to be a baby in SEO, just like you were a baby in offer creation, video content creation, just like you're going to be a baby when the automation course comes out. Be okay going from crawling to walking to running to being really proficient. Okay. So I appreciate everybody coming out. That is it. I know we went a little bit over. Definitely appreciate Bill going a little over with us. I told you, man, they were like super excited to get on the call. I don't think Bill realized like how excited you guys were. So
Oh, I knew. And honestly, I'm just excited. Like you can tell when I talk about this stuff, I'm super passionate about it. Just a couple of notes. I'm probably going to end up doing more than 10 videos. Like the stuff is super thick, and I don't want you guys having to watch like 3-hour videos without any kind of break. So I'm going to do at least 10. So we're going to start there, and we're going to build on it. We didn't talk about local services ads, did we? Basically,
no,
it's pay.
we
It's pay
focus
per
more on
lead.
organic. Yeah, we focus more organic on this call.
It's pay per lead, and you basically charge a percentage to manage it, manage disputes, and you get to listen to call recordings and see where they're messing up and tell them about it. Just real
So
quick. It
for
builds on your
everyone-
Google business profile, so your reviews, your pictures. Like I said, it all ties together, and it's straight to the top, just pay per lead.
So for everyone who is not in SASO University, if you want to join, now is the time to do it. I told people this before, and people would, let's see, Michael said local service ads are part of the SEO course. Yeah, they will be part of what Bill covers. Yes.
Yep.
So if you're not in SASO University, now's the time to join. I've been through this before where I said, hey, I give everybody a heads up. As soon as Bill's course is done, which will end right at the end of the new year, or right at the beginning of the new year, right at the end of this year, as soon as his course is done, the price is going to 97. So if you want to join, now is the time to join. Once the price goes up, I'm not offering discounts. I'm not offering promotions. I'm not saying, oh, you were at 20 minutes late, I'll offer to you. I'm giving you a 3-month heads up. The price, and like Bill said, he might have more, he's gonna have more training. It's going to be a really cool program. So once we get those core concept videos coming out, we need to understand that this is going to increase the price. So if you are not in, now's the time to get in. And once Bill is done with his training, goes to 97, then we have our automation guy coming in. I'm working on getting a video content creation guy coming in. Everybody I bring in, you will be able to contact them and ask if they are willing to handle some of the fulfillment, and they will be able to dictate their own pricing. They will dictate their pricing. They don't have to work with you. They can dictate their pricing. They will have their affiliate links. They will show you how to use their software. Like I said, I told everybody when I started this group, my mission is to get rid of these scam affiliates who have never scaled a business. I'm not going to do that if I bring in Bill, who's never grown a business before. I do that by bringing in Bill, who has grown his own business and others' businesses, right?
Just to give you numbers, I did $100,000 in my first 3 years part-time.
Yeah. And I think when you said part-time, it was like no more than, I think it was like, would you say it was like no more than 8 hours?
Basically a few hours a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
8
And so-
hours a weekend at the most when I was doing my own content. I have a part-time employee at this point.
And so, yeah, when I met Bill, he was flipped. He was part-time business, full-time employee. And I think you just made that transition this year, right? Where you switched, or was that?
I'm still working full-time for somebody else, working part-time in the business with a part-time employee. So I just basically kept my big salary and passed off as much of the work as I could.
Yeah. So this is what we're redoing, right? So Bill is the first professional. I did not bring him in lightly. We went back and forth on making sure he was comfortable joining for, I think it was like 2 weeks to make sure everything was in place. We're bringing in professionals. So the whole point of this community is people who are actually scaling their business. And the beautiful part of it is I work in SASO funnels full time. Bill has a full-time job, and he's automated his job or his business with virtual assistants and with software and with essentially AI, some AI tools, right? So I want to make sure you guys understand that is the key difference. So if somebody shows you their Stripe and they're talking about, oh, look how much money I made. It's like, cool. Did you do that from your own business or from your scam affiliate side, right? If they've actually grown it, that's what you want to look for. So I want to make sure you guys have everything you need to succeed. This is only the beginning. Super happy everybody came out. Bill, we're super happy to have you. Any last words you want to say to your new fan group?
I just
Myself
want to say,
included.
I just want to say thank you, and thanks everybody who joined and asked some really awesome questions. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for coming out. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. We went way over. Super big appreciation to Bill for staying late, way later than I told him we would. Any questions you can have for Bill, send to me, post in the group. I'll relay to him. Otherwise, we will see you on next week's group call. But everybody go ahead and have a great night. See ya.